Polly, we're here for another episode.
Yay! Oh my gosh, episode 7.
Are you getting pumped?
Oh, I'm so pumped right now. All
You
right.
like my office today? I mean, I know we're typically in closets, and I don't know how the sound quality is going to come out being in this upholstered vehicle. But I mean, all vehicles are upholstered, but this upholstered home vehicle thing.
Actually, dude, that's like an awesome office.
I know. I'm starting to think that my driveway is going to have a friend.
I like it.
Okay. Let's get this party started. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
Welcome to episode 7. Spill the tea. If you don't know what that means or you're not a teenager, I'm just teasing.
Or you know a teenager that taught you that.
Yeah, welcome. We, in this episode, are going to help you go from a haphazard day where you don't feel accomplished at the end of the day to where no matter how much you got done, you rest knowing that your time was well spent. So we all have days. Yes, Nicole?
I'm raising my
Do you have
hand.
a question?
Not all of you guys can see that, but I just want to report that at the beginning, see, I'm not really this good at it, so I have to like hire people to help me do it.
Like me.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so on Sunday, today's Thursday at the time of recording, and Polly and I sat down on Sunday to like map out the week. Totally didn't go as I planned, the mapping out, whatever. But can I tell you what? Like the days that it did go okay, and I stayed up long enough to get stuff done, I slept so much better. And for those of you who are 7s like me, you're a 7 too, Polly, but I'm like the scattered 7. You're like the focused 7. I like have this major fear of missing out. And so like all like rigidity and structures and schedules like make me feel trapped or make me think I'm going to feel trapped. But what I found is that when I follow it and I feel accomplished at the end of the day, I can actually enjoy my fun time more. And so I want to give all y'all who are afraid of time blocking, who are afraid of the T and the structure and the rigidity of it, just give it a chance. Like, give it a chance for it to literally change your life and make the happier times happier because you feel like you've gotten something done and you don't have to have this anything looming over your head that, wow, I didn't do that or I feel terrible about that.
Yes.
Just a caveat, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and if you, Nicole, can benefit from time blocking, anybody can. I mean, anybody can. Time blocking is not just for the type A, organized people, doers.
Mm-hmm.
It is, if anything, it helps everybody.
It helps everything. Like, this is the secret sauce. Like we've built up to this point, you know, the last several episodes have been talking about all the things that we do to prepare, but really this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where all that hard work, all that, you know, relationship work, all of that stuff, we get to apply all of it when we plan for it. So
just yesterday I was messaging with a friend and she was like, I don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know how you get all the stuff done that you get done in a day. And you're ready with the day and you've makeup on and like you do all this fun stuff with your kids and blah, 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 blah. And I literally responded to her and I said, thank you so much for the nice compliment. My secret is time blocking. Once I learned how to time block, I get so much done. And my personality is the personality that thrives off achievement. If I have this haphazard piecemeal day and I go to bed at night and I feel like I got nothing done, that is when I'm feeling crappy about myself. But when I get a lot done, I just am on cloud 9. And so time blocking just elevates that. I totally love time blocking because I am the production master and it just feels so good in my brain. And just like you were saying, Nicole, if you constantly have stuff weighing on your shoulders and on your to-do list, even when you step away from work, that stuff is still on your mind. Mm-hmm. So the great thing about time blocking is that it puts everything in its place and you can step away from it and come to it because you know that there's a dedicated time when you're going to be working on a specific task. It's putting tasks into containers, and it's awesome. So we all have those days that we can describe as piecemeal, where at the end we're like, I was so freaking busy all day long, but what did I even do? And so intentional living and time blocking is what's going to fix that. So time management is life management. And I say that a lot. And whether you have a little time or whether you have an ample amount of time, you need to manage that time well, because if you don't, it will lead to the overwhelm and the guilt. And it's either guilt that I didn't make the most out of my time or guilt that I didn't get it all done. So, really, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you the one running your day, or is the day running you? And probably if you are waking up reactive and you are on the defense all day, the day is running you and you are not in control. So a lot of times, this is kind of my first tip when it comes to time blocking, is people say, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I don't have the time for it. The first thing I want you to do is rather than say, I don't have time, say the words, that is not a priority for me. And then see how it feels to you. So if you are like, I don't have time to take my kids to the park, you say, it's not a priority to me to take my kids to the park. Or I don't have time to do this or that. Say, it's not a priority for me. And if when you say it's not a priority, it doesn't bother you, then it probably really is not a priority. But if it does kind of bug you and like pull at you a little bit, then you know that that is something that you can move to the top and it is a priority.
Mm-hmm. This is a lot like Marie Kondo's theory when she's decluttering of, does it spark joy? Like,
yeah,
does it spark importance? Does it spark value to you? And analyzing every part of your day and like the time that you spend doing things, that will help you analyze, has this earned a spot in my day? And is it important to me? You know, today, Polly and I were working with a one-on-one client, and our one-on-one client couldn't be more like Polly. And while she showed us a calendar that's using time blocking, there's another step to this. And that's why we're going through this, because she's struggling with feeling like, I did this, yeah, I worked out, I did this, I did that, but I feel like I got nothing done. Like, and she was able to do stuff, but she's not able to do the things that make her feel accomplished. And so as you're going through this and as you're evaluating those things, make sure you get the things that feel rewarding to you. Like for me, I work a lot on the pleasure reward side, and you work a lot on the achievement award side. And if you can relate with any of those perspectives, make sure the things that you do make you feel rewarded. That's why we talk a lot about momentum and getting little things done that can help you feel like you're on the right track.
Well, and one thing that our client was doing, and Nicole's going to tell us a story about the rocks, pebbles, and sand in a little bit. Our client, even though she was time blocking and had dedicated time set aside to work, she was filling that time with basically sand instead of rocks. So Nicole, why don't you share that story with us? Because it's one of my favorite analogies.
Yeah. So rocks, pebbles, or sand. That's kind of like the categories that we use. And I'm using another analogy to explain the analogy, but we're going to put it in categories and kind of like file the things so that we can start to manage each one. And so it can also look like an unorganized closet, which, Polly, you are not sitting in right now. You are not in an unorganized closet.
Nope, mine is organized, but you should know it was unorganized, and I recently decluttered and just went through my closet and reorganized it. So,
but you had to get to be a mess, and you had to get everything out of it, right? So there is a process, and so sorting our rock, pebbles, and sand, you know, and you combine things with like things. So time blocking isn't a schedule; it's an ideal, you know. And when we talk about ideals, it's important that we discuss grace, right? And so an ideal is a goal, and that's where we're aiming for the goal, and that's what time blocking is. It's taking sections of time and giving them intentions. So an example would be, I have an intention to complete this specific activity during this time block, and then brain switching doesn't occur. Like for me, I've found the more that I say no to things when I'm dedicated my time to something else, the more free I am to do it well and then not be stressed out by the other thing, and just literally boundaries, saying no. And this creates those boundaries. Sorry, I hit the mic. This creates those boundaries that you need to feel free within the limits of that block. Does that make sense? So for you, that again, I want to talk to the person who's worried about restrictiveness. There is freedom and liberty within the boundaries. Okay. So this is about the structure of your day and giving attention to each time block.
Yes. And so back to the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand, what that is basically imagine that you've got this jar and you've got rocks, pebbles, and sand to fill it up. Okay. The jar is your time. It is a chunk of time. And the rocks are the activities or tasks that you've got going on during your day, the rocks, pebbles, and sand. Now, if you put in the sand first and then the pebbles, then the rocks, you're not going to be able to fit everything into the jar. But if you were to put the rocks in first and then trinkle the pebbles in and then have the sand fill up the remaining, you'll be able to fill that entire jar with everything you need to do. And that is how time blockers are so productive, because their rocks are their non-negotiables. They're the no matter what's. They're the things that they have to get done every day, and they make sure that they fit them in first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pebbles are, they're important things like doing the dishes and the laundry and, things that need to get done, but they're not necessarily a priority. And sand is just like, it's the fillers, right? It's watching Netflix, it's checking notifications on social, it's all that stuff that kind of just sucks up our time.
And it's interruptions.
Interruptions for sure. So what you need to do is figure out, what are your rocks, what are your pebbles, what are your sand? Go through your day and kind of just journal and see what you've got going on and what you're spending your time doing. And is it a rock? Is it a pebble? Or is it a sand? And if you notice that you are putting off the rocks and not putting those into your containers of time first, then you need to do some switching around and focus. So when you go through your day and you go through kind of creating your schedule and your blocks of time, make sure that you put in those non-negotiables first.
So let me give you an example. We talk about our morning routine. That is a rock, man. And for me, just, you guys know the difference between me and Polly. First of all, I was supposed to tell that story and I didn't. That's just a perfect example of me. But the rock, I feel like if I get the rocks out of the way, I give myself permission to have like free time, and I give myself permission to feel accomplished. And so for me, rocks first is always the best method. And so a rock for me and a rock for all of you has got to be a morning routine. And we give you an example of how to do that in our Save Your Morning Routine episode. So dig into that and make that your first rock. I would call it a boulder because it's got to go in there.
Yes, the biggest rock for sure. Other examples of non-negotiables are, for me, like family dinner. That is very important. It's not just business stuff. Exercising, can be a non-negotiable. Meal planning can be a non-negotiable. And then, just one-on-one family time, date night every week is a non-negotiable. So there's important things that need to happen within your family to help you maintain that intentionality with them. And then there's non-negotiables in your business. So like for me in my business, following up is huge. A lot of my business is just relationship management. And there are times when sitting down to write messages and stuff, I know I've got a lot of them to do, and I'll feel like, I don't want to do this, especially if it's at the end of the day. And, at the beginning of the day, we all have this certain amount of willpower that we have dedicated to just the day, and it starts to get drained as we make decisions and as we start to do things throughout the day. And so that's just another reason why it's important to do the rocks first. So I always do better when I wake up and do my morning routine, and then I spend an hour working my other business and just getting that hour out of the way. That hour is a non-negotiable for me. So there's actually a few enemies that come with time management. They're multitasking, procrastination, and distractions and interruptions. So we're going to go through those a little bit. Multitasking is like the freaking worst. I remember when I had on my resume multitasker, like, and was just so proud that I could be this like killer multitasker. And I just always thought of that as like a strength of mine. And it's just so funny because multitasking is horrible for your brain. So, um,
Can I talk a little bit about that?
oh, please.
Yeah, I want to just talk to you guys about brain switching. There is just this data upon data upon data showing that what you do focused for a short amount of time is just as effective as distracted work for much longer lengths of time. So for example, 15 minutes of laser focused work is better than 2 hours of distracted all over the like trying to do multiple things, because you can really only do one thing well at a time. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some exceptions, and we'll talk about that. But usually, if it's something that's not passive, there's really no way to do two things at once or do them well. And brain switching is something that really takes a lot of bandwidth. Do you ever notice that, like, when you are trying to multitask it, when you've multitasked throughout the day, one, you don't really know what you accomplished, and two, you're super, super tired? It's because it's so exhausting. It takes so much for your brain to go from one idea to the next and really make that transition. And as women, we're actually able to do it better than men, but we still aren't able to do it to the full capacity of actually giving focus to something.
Yeah. And also I feel like you just forget stuff. Like, what was I working on? Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot. And then you just are like, you're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Multitasking is not a focused thing. So examples of like appropriate multitasking is like listening to an audiobook while you're getting ready in the morning, or
Mm-hmm.
listening while you're driving or doing the dishes or folding laundry, right? When you're doing something brainless, two brainless things at the same time, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you can listen to the words of a book and fold laundry, because that doesn't take any brain bandwidth. So things like that are good multitasking.
Something
And
passive with something active is okay. So.
yes, yes. So the solution to that is single tasking, okay? Basically multiply your time. So practice multitasking. That makes a difference, just like we said. But then focus when you are doing a task. You might have to really train your brain, because your brain might be so trained on multitasking and brain switching that it's going to need help in not switching when you're in an activity. And I will do this because I have been a multitasker my whole life, that when I am working on an activity and I start to step away, one of my tricks is to just keep post-it notes around my house. So if I have an idea or the next task I need to do, I need to write it on a to-do list, I just write it really quick down on a piece of paper. And I call that my mosquito task list, because mosquitoes are like, they're always just like buzzing in your ear. So if you
Mm-hmm.
ever have something that's just buzzing in your ear and you're wanting to switch gears, just write it down on a piece of paper or a post-it note, put it in your planner, stick it in your pocket, and get it on your bigger list later. And just, you'll have to do some training to keep you on focus, single tasking.
So Polly has a really good trick. Speaking of buzzing in your ear, she uses an egg timer for things that don't really have a specific beginning and end. Something that you're just kind of like you you do for a bit to gain momentum, or you're doing something for consistency. So maybe it's social media or something like that. And she has a little egg timer, like an old school one, that makes a sound and reminds her to stay on task for that time. Like, hey, your
Mm-hmm.
time's running out. And that's another useful tool to help keep you focused so that you don't get off the rails, and that you can actually be really productive during the time you intend.
Yes. Okay, Nicole, talk to us about procrastination, because you're so good about it. You're so
I'm
good
so
at
good about it. No, I'm so good at procrastinating.
it.
Now, I learned something interesting about procrastination recently, which will be an encouragement to those of you who are procrastinators. So, procrastinators actually aren't lazy. Dun, dun,
Nope.
dun.
Nope.
They are just kind of like pigeonholing or reserving the most important task to create the sense of urgency. And if you're the type of person who works well under pressure, you can understand that. But we have to combat that so that we can get more done. We're actually trying to stretch out the work and make ourselves productive. My bigger fear is that I would not have something to do, that I would be bored or something. And that's kind of where procrastination comes from, because you allow all these other things to come along and prevent you from getting to the thing that you really need to do. Or you get so caught up in all the pre-work that you don't get the thing needed that you need to do
Mm-hmm.
to give you the satisfaction of feeling accomplished. And so You got to do it and feel it to keep the momentum. So just like Dave Ramsey and I was talking about earlier in like having those wins, know what brings your reward, the reward section of your brain, what lights it up, what gets you excited. Because the more that you do that, the more you'll go on to the next thing and continue in it. And I was just telling Polly, like, I totally procrastinated on doing a task that we had because I have other things that going up, and I'm not saying no to those things. But once I'm in that groove, I get the reward of what it's like to accomplish it. And then the next time I actually look forward to doing it sooner. So the more
girl.
The more you do it, the more you do it. Okay? So do it to feel it, and then you'll do it more.
Yep. And I'll say it helps to have an accountability partner. So Nicole and I are each other's accountability partners when it comes to working our business, and there's times when like we're both procrastinating and we both have to just tell each other, like, we just have to get it done, and like, I'll say, Nicole, you got to make this a priority or whatever. And it's kind of like, if we know that the other person is counting on us to do it. So, finding somebody who can help you be accountable together is, if you've got someone in mind, message them and be like, hey, we need to be accountability partners, and figure out what that looks like for you guys.
Did you guys hear that? She said, I'm a good accountability partner to her too. I just want you to notice that that's been documented, and so I can remind myself that I am a good accountability partner too. And I just believe that friendship and working towards a common goal just makes everything work better. And what were you going to say,
Let's
Paula?
just back up for a second, Nicole. I hired you to be my business coach, so
I'm not saying that you don't think I am. I'm saying I need to remind myself that I am, because I rely so much on my accountability partner to keep me on track. Sometimes you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not offering that same thing. But Polly recently told me that I am the best accountability partner she's ever had. Like, wow.
Because you don't freaking mess around. I can't tell you how many times I've had an accountability partner where I go in and want to quit and they just let me quit. Okay. I don't know what it is, where they don't have the gumption to say, like, sorry, you can't quit, like, you won't let me. And that is what I personally need in an accountability partner, apparently, because I'll quit.
I need somebody who will get me back on track so I don't get discouraged. So, I think that there's so much power in that. And so find someone and utilize them, because it's game changing. It is absolutely game changing to have somebody by your side to link arms with.
Legit. So another thing you can do with an accountability partner or just your family is you guys can do your schedule for the week together and kind of keep each other on track, Another enemy, though, to time management is the distractions and interruptions. And you might think that your kids are the worst, but really you are your own worst enemy when it comes to this. Okay. You might think it's your kids, but really it is you. And so eliminating distractions is an absolute must. So turn off your phone when you're working, remove it from where you are, like put it down. Nicole knows I'm really good at this. Take off your Apple Watch to get off of your wrist, put it somewhere else. Turn off social media notifications on your phone. Like, I never have notifications going off on my phone for emails, social media, anything. My texts are silent. I only I only go into apps when I want to or have planned to, so that I am in control. When I'm working, put my phone on airplane mode or do not disturb so I don't get interrupted. But really, sometimes I need my phone when I'm working because I use a lot of apps on my phone for creativity and creating content. But when I don't need it, it's away. But when I'm using it and don't want to be interrupted, airplane mode or do not disturb. So,
okay, I want to talk to the people pleaser for a second here. If you are a people pleaser, or let's say you're running a team of people, whether it's you have a team of people that work with you in your business, or you're leading a team of people, remember that the way that you respect your own time, they will respect it too. And being in friendship with Polly, I have learned that it's okay to not reply right away. Polly will literally, I know this is what she does. I've never seen her do it because when I'm with her, she's not usually texting me. But I know this is what she does. She will text me and then put her phone down. I will literally text her right back and she may not see it. And if you're going to do that, turn your read receipts on so that people know you're not ignoring them. But I have given myself permission to not respond to people right away because Polly has modeled it for me. So if you are a leader of any kind, and you're a leader of your family, with your children, with your spouse, like, be respectful of your own time and other people will respect it, and you'll inspire them to respect their own time too. So just a little caveat for the people pleaser.
Okay, that's so interesting because I did not even know that about you, that you would like feel that pressure to respond so quickly. And
I don't even open text unless I feel like I can respond right away. And so,
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So I just got a message. So I messaged a team member the other day. I was up early at like 5:30 a.m. getting some of my follow-ups done, and messaging my team is a part of the follow-ups that I do every day. So I just messaged to check one in, and I was at 5:30 my time. She's West Coast, I think, so 3-hour difference. And when she responded to me, she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't respond back. Like, I'm asleep at 5:30." And I was like, I mean, duh. Like, of course you're asleep at 5:30.
Yeah, you
And I just
messaged me at
said,
4 a.m. Yeah.
and then it made me have this thought, like, did you think I was expecting you to just like respond to me right away? So I guess people do.
They do. They do.
So
And they get antsy when you don't. So yeah.
yeah. So, and I just responded to her and I said, "Oh, I treat Messenger like email. I do not." And that is another great tip right there. Treat messages like email. And so one thing that you can do is, rather than
Unless you're treating your email like text messages.
that was the second one. You know what I mean? If you, rather than like piecemealing your emails and messages throughout the day, set aside time. So like me, I do a lot of messaging. I'll do it in the morning, and I sit and I just do messages, and I don't respond to any because I need to get a lot of messages out. And then I take about 30 minutes throughout the day. You know, sometimes it's 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Yep, I'm filler, and I'll respond to the messages. Don't piecemeal your emails together all day. If you are looking at your emails and your messages all day long, you are not getting anything done. You know,
you're going to end the day saying, what the heck did I even get done? That's what you're going to
because you probably got distracted in between that message and did something else. So set time to do it. Set time to check your emails and messages. So
yeah. Hey, Polly, you remember that time we said this was going to be a short episode, but then we had so much to talk about around it that it just got longer and longer and longer?
I love it. Okay. So I guess, you know what? This has been good. We can probably stop here, right?
I mean, I think it is. I think that, you know, and I talked a little bit about in the beginning, just do your best, you know, and at the end of the day, be willing to say, like, I did my best. And there are going to be things that come out of your control, and just remember that. And that's why we really believe in like kind of like a cool down or a preparation for the next day, so that you can kind of analyze what went well, what didn't go well, what do I really need to get done tomorrow that I wanted to get done today, so that you can make those rocks. Okay. So your rocks and your pebbles and your sand all shift around every single day. So just remember that and set your intentions and bathe them in grace. That is our mantra. And we want you to continue to say that to yourself throughout this process.
Yes. And the other thing I want to say is let go of expectations. So it is so easy when you start time blocking and you're like, so for example, this happened to Nicole on Monday, straight up. Okay. Sunday night, we time blocked, did the whole schedule, and she woke up Monday, like excited for the week. You know, that's how Mondays go. And then she like, things happened that messed up her schedule.
Somebody canceled on me.
Yeah. And, you know, so that is going to happen. And when you have high expectations, it sucks, because inevitably you're going to be met with some disappointment or some interruptions or whatever. So if you accomplish any part of the intention that you set, you're a winner. So, but if you have these expectations, okay, you can set intentions and expectations are different. Okay. You set those intentions and you allow God to guide your day. Okay.
Yes.
expectations is you just trying to be in control. So you got to let go and let God. Okay. Some days just won't go as intended, but with low expectations, you can still feel accomplished and give yourself the grace to just get back to it tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Okay.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of negative, kind of like the best intentions, the road of whatever was bathed in good intentions. Like, don't let that go, because we're redefining that. Like, your intentions matter. And when you're a mom and a business owner and a wife, like, sometimes the important, because it seems like it's urgent, it becomes important. So I'll give you an example, especially like living by the Spirit. When you feel led by the Spirit to do something, that becomes important right then. And there are things that you're not going to do that you have been called by the Spirit to do, like have a longer conversation with a stranger, or give extra cuddles to your child when they need it, or whatever that is. And remember that that became a priority then because you were led by the Spirit. Now, don't use it as an excuse, but I want you to make room for that and margin for the Holy Spirit to prompt you and for you to be obedient. I know that's kind of like a total
Well,
side note, but
and I just feel, well, to add to that, like, I just feel like when you're putting God first, when you are putting your creator first and being and allowing your life to be led by the creator, then you'll know in the instant what you need to do next. You know, you'll know if you need to cancel on something, you'll know if you need to skip something to be with your kid, or you'll know if it's okay to leave your kid at home and go to the business thing or whatever. You know, if you are being led by the Lord in your day and allowing the Lord, like I'm kind of all about God will micromanage your life if you just give it up, you
yeah.
know? And no one likes to be micromanaged, but I love to be micromanaged by God.
Yeah, because aren't we all just wondering, well, if you just tell me what to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You
So,
know?
and sometimes we don't know what to do, you know, and that's up to us. But, you know, if we allow ourselves to just be led, we'll know in the moment what we need to do when we need to do it.
And I want to say again, I want to talk to the people pleaser one more time. If you're a people pleaser, because that's my secondary is too people pleasing, I really recommend the book The Best Yes by Lisa Turkhurst. It helps you identify what is God's best yes and how a no can actually serve somebody better. So you may say no to somebody who you can help, but the alternative and what happens as a result of you saying no is their best yes. So just keep that in mind. And if you struggle with this, go read that book. It's a really quick read. I recommend listening to it on Audible.
Well, and I think you should always say an inspired no versus a resentful yes.
Ooh,
right?
Girl, get it. Repeat that. Repeat
Seriously,
it.
though, you should learn to say an inspired no versus a resentful yes. If you're someone who's just a yes girl, who's always saying yes, 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 there are times when you need to say no, and you can look at them as inspired. Like I just said, if you're allowing God to lead you and you're trusting that and taking hold of that, then you'll rely on God to tell you when to say no, you know.
Okay, you guys, this episode was jam-packed with value. And you know what? We are just scratching the surface. In fact, we've built a whole entire course just about this and a whole section of hours of, content and homework to understand this better. So this is something that you really want to get into. All the information's on our website, but we have a free resource for you today.
Yes, today's intentional practice, our tip for the day, is go download our blank time blocking worksheet and start time blocking. So just really quick, how you're going to fill this out, because we actually didn't address that. First thing you're going to do when you're filling it out, it's organized every 15 minutes of the day. And so you're going to start by putting in your timed things that have a scheduled appointment. Okay, so today's intentional practice, we want you to go fill out our blank time blocking worksheet. Just go to theintentionalmompreneur.com/time. There we go. Sorry. Just to say that again, go to theintentionalmompreneur.com/time and download the blank time blocking worksheet, and there will be a video for you that will explain exactly how you fill that out. Okay. And then if you want more steps and resources on the how to actually manage your time, go check out our course. That is theintentionalmompreneur.com/SHIT. S.H.I.T.
Love
Makes me laugh
it.
every time.
Love
Okay, Nicole, it's about that time. Let us pray.
Okay, let us pray. Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity to just share about the wisdom that we have in our Miss Polly Gage. Like, she has got this thing down, and we recognize that we don't have it all figured out, and we rely on you, your spirit, and the people that you have created with their giftings to guide us. And I'm so grateful for her and her wisdom in this area. What a blessing she's been to me. And I pray that the women listening to this would leverage the resources that have been provided, would feel connected and know that it's possible, and that they would lean on you and bathe all of their intentions in grace so that expectations won't let them down. May they end their day feeling accomplished and worthy of the life that they've been given. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
It's Polly and Nicole here. We want to thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Yes, and we would love to join in community with you, link arms with you. So be sure to check out the description with a link to our website, where you will find lots of resources to take your mom life and business to the next level, and a link to our group.
Yeah, so if you like what you heard, definitely leave a comment below and subscribe. We love hearing what you thought.
And until next time, bathe it in grace.